sorry. Hello, we're back. August 5th, doing AI, robot, and nonsense news. We had a moment where we thought Ryan's car was TikToks and we had to restart.
If you didn't watch the previous episodes, that's going to be a confusing statement, which is why you should always watch all the episodes in order. Or you could watch it all at once. How would you do that?
On Patreon and Floatplane. And if you get bored of all that, you can always check out Linode, because we give you $100 off for Linode.
Linode, yeah.
Linode is great.
Someone keeps commenting every week that they want more one-click videos. But you don't say what one-click you want. I haven't looked at the new batch. Did they add all the new ones yet?
There's a lot of... Linode has really done an incredible job adding how-tos for all the stuff that you can deploy on Linode to go serverless.
But they call it the marketplace, but it's the one-click installs. They had added a bunch of those recently.
Yeah, and so it's a lot of fun. How's the trading platform thing going? That might be a fun thing to have connected to the internet 24/7.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you don't really need it to be on the cloud, but it could be. The accessibility would be nice. Yeah. I haven't messed with it too much. It is overwhelming the amount of stuff that thing can do, just from public records.
What was it called?
OpenBB.
OpenBB. It's an Open Bloomberg Terminal clone.
It's the Linux curse of like being a really annoying install on Linux. Whereas the Windows installer, I think, is just like click on it. But we'll show you how to do it. I'm going to probably have that video ready pretty soon.
You can do that on Linode or any Linux installation, but especially Node. $100 of credit to explore link blow.
So we don't have that yet, but it's coming. I don't know if that's on Node, but you could definitely put it on Node using our video that will be out some point, probably in August.
It's August now, right? By the time they see this, it'll be August.
End of August.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I believe that everybody has seen this story.
Yes.
And certainly a ton of people have sent me this story. It was like, oh, you should put that on the news this week, which is great because it means people are watching, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to discourage that. But yeah, I heard from a lot of people about this one.
Chess robot grabs and breaks the fingers of 7-year-old opponent. And there's a video of it.
Oh. And
it's not pretty.
Now, the kid cheated. He messed around. And indeed,
he
found out.
He violated safety rules by taking a turn too quickly, said the official.
Now, the way I understood it, he was taking 2 turns, right?
No, it was just like it was. You know, you see the other
They're
chess
like
players
clear his fingers of the board, and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Almost like 7-year-olds have poor impulse control and shouldn't be around machinery.
Yeah. Although the kid was a trooper, he got it, patched up or whatever, came back and finished the tournament.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Probably a little scared of the robot after that.
Kind of surprised there was no e-stop button readily accessible where you could just,
Or a microphone that detects screaming. And GPT-3 is an amazing thing, and it does really cool things. Although, here's a public service announcement. AI Dungeon is on Steam. Don't buy it.
It's gotten worse.
It's not great.
They're giving you the worst AI in the Steam version. If you go to their website and do their version, you can actually upgrade to the nice AI, but in the Steam version, it's a total cash grab. Don't do it. But it is the same technology that they're using here.
In experiment, AI successfully impersonates a famous philosopher. It was difficult for people to guess whether the philosophical responses came from philosopher Daniel Dennett or language generator GPT-3. So they trained it on Kant and a bunch of other things and a bunch of this guy's previous writings and his blog posts and everything else. And then they asked the AI questions and they asked that guy questions, and then he evaluated the responses from the AI. It's like, oh yeah, I totally would say that. That does sound like me.
Now, it was only 100 people, and it wasn't exactly like a blind study, but some of the people were from his forum, his website forum. So you would expect those people to be more familiar with him and how he communicates. And even they were fooled. Which is impressive, but terrifying.
I also wonder if they ask it questions that are just absurd to see how it responds.
No,
sometimes the responses are very good.
It was definitely philosophical type.
Right. Well, because that was always the joy when we play AI Dungeon, was like coming up with a really bizarre scenario and seeing how the AI responded to it. Because a lot of times it would just be like, what?
See, the problem with what you're saying, though, is like the way they did this, that you could either get his answer or the AI's answer. You didn't know.
So they had to...
Right. They had to have a realistic answer from him. And when it comes to AI, of course, everybody's afraid of them learning on their own, becoming sentient and killing us all. We saw that the Spot robot can now teach itself to walk. We've seen all these AlphaGo things train themselves to do good at games. How dangerous is it? Well, Google, I don't think is going to tell us.
The engineer who claimed that Google AI is sentient has been fired. Google insists that at most it's only worth 2/3 of a person.
Oh,
No, when this
Google.
when this first came out, we did learn that guy was a little wacky,
Yeah.
and he probably was not popular at the Google office.
There's a lot of things that have also been published that could plausibly explain why the responses were so good and so human-like, despite not arising to general consciousness. But I promise you, at some point in the very near future, well, this show will probably still be on the air, if we had an AI whose responses were indistinguishable from a consciousness, what difference does it make?
Yes, if people believe it, right? Power shadow on a wall. Like, if
Yeah.
you think it's real.
Cogito ergo sum?
The difference is it fools us into thinking that, but then it's not really that good.
Yeah.
And it leads us, but it's not really, oh, wait, we already have that.
But remember, the AI is going to control you in the line city of Neom.
How many people around you are NPCs? You don't know.
The AI only ever lets you eat circus peanuts as food, and you keep like filing complaints about that. Like, don't question it. It knows.
It knows. It's
This is-
100% real. It's conscious.
This is the nutrition that you need in the Lion City.
I hate, this is the worst candy. If you had to pick an unhealthy candy, why circus peanuts?
Yeah, and we have to fly them in too. It's totally weird, but we trust the AI. And here's the thing about all the AI products, right? Like Spot updates over the air, right?
It does.
I think any new robot that comes out is going to have over-the-air updates. So you might invite a robot into your home, vet it completely, understand it completely, and then one day
It's gone.
gets an upgrade. Now it can do more stuff.
Amazon extends Alexa to enable ambient intelligence. Do you know what ambient intelligence means? It means that it's listening all the time. It's going to try to
It's
understand what's
ambient.
happening.
It's just in the air.
It's going to try
Don't
to
worry about
understand what it's doing. This would be a good time to plug the 3D printed brain slug accessory for your Alexa. So you can 3D print this accessory that you put on top of the Alexa, and it injects white noise into the Alexa's microphone until it hears in its microphone the keyword to make it stop making the white noise. So when you say, hey, brain slug, it will deactivate the brain slug so that Alexa can hear the ambient sound. That's a pretty good way to preserve privacy and still use it.
Or maybe just don't use an Alexa.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
just purge the Alexas from your home.
Yeah.
Plus, you could sell them and get a little bit of it back.
But your microphones or your cell phones are going to do that, anyway. You just have to, we could talk about the new Jeep Wrangler, and now all of your ad history is going to be polluted with Jeep Wrangler ads.
The brain
Sorry.
slugs are going to need to come in a 12-pack.
Yeah. If you don't believe that'll happen, also play the Barbie Dreamhouse episode that we did a while back, and then see what your ads.
Your recommendations will become ruined. Don't do that.
I've been doing truck simulator streams on Twitch. My YouTube trucking content has skyrocketed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So how does it know?
Well, it's listening, obviously, because I'm talking about trucking as I'm playing. And my phone or some online profile is like, oh, yes, trucking.
We'll make sure to recommend that more often, citizen.
He loves trucking. And based on those trucking videos, man, it sounds like a tough job to get into,
Yeah.
to get started in. They really screw you on the bottom floor of that one. And one place that hopefully they don't screw you is the space station.
Russia is leaving the International Space Station in 2024 and will focus on building its own.
With what money?
Not going to do the Bender joke? I really expected you to do the Bender joke there.
What was the Bender joke?
With blackjack and
Hookers.
hookers.
I had that thought also, but
And China, they're reinvigorating their space program. They did a couple of launches this year, and they might have screwed a couple of things up.
Debris from China rocket launch to crash land and no one knows where. This is the one that blew up a while
I
back.
think it's pronounced Debris.
Debris.
Debris from China Rocket.
I knew a Debris in accounting.
They do know, based on where it is now, like the longitudinal, latitudinal path it might hit. And the American one, for whatever reason, we have the most likelihood is Iowa. If this falls on an Iowan home and it bursts into flame, what will we do about it internationally?
Give them some money and pretend it didn't happen.
Give Taiwan another aircraft carrier.
You're going to give them my tax dollars to make up for China's mistake? I don't know about that.
I don't know how that works.
And the Pentagon and the powers that be, they are just beating this UFO drum. I don't know what's behind this.
Pentagon establishes office to track UFOs in space. So you dig into it's in the kind of in the subheadline here. The office will also attempt to study objects that appear to travel between space, air, and water. There are some videos that show an object moving really fast from air to actually in the water and staying in the water, and then it'll come out of the water and then go to the air and then just sort of take off. And it's like, is this some kind of drone technology or something else crazy going on?
Obviously, it's stupid that we would even call it a UFO when it's very clearly a Bigfoot. But
now, we talked about those two European satellite companies. They're just now merging and getting ready. But SpaceX is way ahead.
SpaceX breaks its launch record as it sends 46 Starlink satellites into space on Friday. Now, this launch was initially delayed, and so Space.com said, oh, it's been delayed. But then it was launched like 8 hours later, and so then they had to update their article and say, well, they still broke a lot of records for like number of turnarounds and like the number of times the fuselage was used and some other records. It was really interesting.
Plus, we got 4 months left. There's plenty of time for more launches. Going to crush that record.
Wow, the year's almost over. It's almost time for another drunk news at the end of the year.
Before long, SpaceX will blot out the stars.
I actually worry about that.
That's okay. We got space telescopes now.
Yeah, but I like to look at the stars.
But the percentage of coverage, I mean, it's still minuscule, right?
The conspiracy theorist in me thinks that we're going to have so many satellites in orbit because, you know, if the alien fleet does show up, there's plausible deniability. It's like, yeah, you just saw some Starlink satellites.
But why are a third of them gone now? And those aliens, maybe we can find them. And, oh, Wendell, you'll be excited. We're going to slingshot around the sun.
Woo! NASA is planning to find aliens using space-time warped around the sun. Check out the picture. It's like gravitational lensing. No, not that picture. The picture of what it would look like. So our imaging technology is such that light years away, we could get that kind of imaging resolution on an Earth-sized planet if it's gravitationally lensed just the right way.
This is actually a screenshot from the next generation of Metaverse. Screen door effect is terrible.
So it says that we might be able to resolve features on a distant planet as small as 10 miles across because of gravitational lensing.
I'm so excited to see how you tiptoe around this headline.
Is a new and improved auto AI the best machine a man can get? You're going to have to read the headline, and this is like all this would be really bad.
You know, manofmany.com, paywall alternative. This you can't just say men here, right?
This is also a paid ad because it says in partnership with them.
But they left out women with penises.
A sponsored ad.
So this is I don't know.
Anytime a headline is a question like this, the answer is no.
I like how you're looking at it and you're like, well, what is this device? Then you get up here and you're like, oh. So yeah, this is basically just promotional copy. Oh, it comes with a nice carrying case. Because you definitely want to take this to the Airbnb.
I was thinking like you're in the line at the TSA and they have to check that.
The guy in the article makes a big deal about how easy it is to clean.
Well, it is important in this case, right?
And also apparently this new generation model is supposed to be quieter.
What was it like before?
And then there's this picture, which is just like, oh.
Why was I built to feel pain?
That is some grim. Wow.
That's some dark timeline stuff right there.
And I like that he's holding the thing like it's a cup of coffee. Also, I missed that detail the first time I looked at it.
Also, when you see it in scale, that's big. That is a big machine. I don't know if I would have enough trust in that.
Everything about that is awful.
That seems like it could be dangerous. Because like
we're gonna do an update to this story like a year from now, and it's gonna be like lawsuit.
Because like I guess this actuating arm right here is the meat of your experience, and that just seems like you know, if you got like a bad angle or something going on there. Oh.
I mean, that's true of anything. There have been so many ER visits from, you know, just completely normal, otherwise normal operations when things go slightly wrong.
What if you bought that? Oh, it was really expensive too, wasn't it? How much was it?
I don't know. I didn't get that far.
It was pretty.
The image really kind of makes it
Yeah,
like,
it's just
oh.
like, my brain has decided not to continue processing any information from
Yeah,
this.
I'm going to
Thanks.
black this out after we record this.
I don't see the problem. I think it's quite expensive, but I mean, you know, you can investigate that on your own. Now, imagine if you spent that money and you're, you know, like it gets delivered and you're unpacking it and you're so excited. And then in the background, you see the news story about that chess machine.
Ooh, yeah. Finger breaker.
Wait, maybe I shouldn't do this. And then on the same topic,
NASA scientist explains why astronauts should not probably use one of those in zero gravity or do anything like that at all.
and there's no moral reason. It's just that it's almost impossible to capture the results in a zero gravity environment.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Krista, how about this terror? They said that because it's never necessarily going to stop floating around, every woman on the space station could end up pregnant.
That would be insane.
I don't see how the logistics of that would work, though. Do you?
It would be difficult, but theoretically possible, I guess.
Now that would be a reality show.
Oh, well, we've talked about our reality show in House Flipper about the moon reality show.
But this is even better. It'd be like, you know, a bunch of dudes on one side of the space station, and they're tasked with, you know, just doing this as often as possible. And then the girls on the other side, first one to get pregnant wins $1 million.
But then we find out later in a salacious piece of gossip that one of them cheated. Both literally in the competition, but also on their spouses back on Earth.
No, we keep them separated by bars.
Oh, okay.
So they can never have any human contact.
It had to be more than bars, though, because you could get some other stuff through the bars.
Well,
Maybe like a glass
but
wall.
it can't be glass because
Yeah.
the other stuff does have to get through in order to.
A cheesecloth, if you will.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe we just recycle the air between the two 4 or 5 times a day.
Right.
That's already happening.
But unfiltered.
There's some logistics there we have to work out, but it'd be a great television show.
And to keep it extra exciting, there's like another rare grand prize that you can get that's even better than $1 million. We pump in Elon Musk sperm once a day.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just like involuntarily closed my legs.
Now, here's a question. Think back to that picture we just looked at of that robot girl with the thing built on the Lego
stilts,
Technic,
yeah.
whatever that was. Is that more disturbing than this?
Scientists use dead spider as gripper for robot arm, labeling it Necrobot. Oh, we can see the GIF.
Yeah, the image of it is way better. Okay, we don't care about that. We want to watch the clip of it coming into frame.
Oh, they slowed it way down. This is not the one where it picks up the other spider. Still horrible though. Yeah.
It's like the claw from a vending machine.
What even is this?
So the way they do this is crazy. They freeze a spider, then they pump it full of glue, and then they suck the glue back out in order to make it grip, and then pump the glue back in to open it back up.
What a horrible hell life that must be for the spider.
And there's a great quote in here about the spiders, because the way they have to kill the spiders is very specific. They have to freeze them very quickly. And someone questioned them. They're like, well, is that ethical that we should do that? And they're like, well, we looked and there's no ethical standards for killing spiders.
How long, though, before they use this exact same tech on human hands?
This is just more like, we often talk about, are we moving into Orwell's future or are we moving into Huxley's future, right? This is Warhammer.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah. That's the worst one.
I was thinking of the spider thing in Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was where my mind went, but...
I'm looking forward to the Star Trek 4 style probe that comes to Earth. And it's like, where are my spider brethren? How you doing? What?
They've all been frozen and killed and now are pumped full of glue.
Even better, imagine you're on a date and they're like, oh, you do research. What are you working on? Oh, reanimating spider corpses, actually. It's very exciting.
Dating a necromancer.
We're growing robot parts. It's environmentally friendly.
I don't. Did somebody else add this one?
I added this one. It's,
Oh, okay.
it's not. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just sad.
Yeah, I didn't remember adding it. And I was like, why would I add this?
Oh, go ahead.
2 of the largest freshwater fish in the world declared extinct.
In the Yangtze, it was a sturgeon and a paddlefish.
We have sturgeon here in North America, and they're really cool fish. So I was bummed to see that they've disappeared.
It's hard to tell from this picture. I guess. Well, you can see the light bulbs. These are some pretty big boys, huh?
Yeah. Sturgeon are huge.
They're between pollution and a lot
They
of
built
factors.
dams. Yeah.
So the thing that surprised me most about this story is that they are not actually all gone. There are some in captivity.
Just for the sturgeon. I don't think they have the other in captivity even.
But they try to put them back in those horrible rivers, and they just die.
They die, yeah. And they think, too, some of the fish, due to environmental factors, some of them were spontaneously turning female. So there was no male fish to continue reproducing.
But can't they do the Jurassic Park thing?
Well, if they can get any in captivity, that's one of the fish varieties doesn't have any in captivity, which is part of the problem.
We'll just start messing with their DNA and clone them. It'll be fine.
Michael Crichton isn't turning in his grave right now.
And here's a fun cryptography game that you can play that other people are playing.
Codebreakers find Sexts and Arctic dispatches in 200-year-old encrypted newspaper ads. Cryptography enthusiasts have finally been able to crack the code after a series of encrypted newspaper ads that linked to a rescue expedition in 1850. They've been trying to crack this since the 1980s, had a fresh go at it with modern computers and modern approaches, and oh boy, it worked.
There's a great one down here that we have to read. But the sad thing about it is the expedition, they, as far as I can tell, only ever got one copy of a newspaper that had this in it. And then they were never heard from again. But here's the best one. So it wasn't just expeditions. Some people did it just to talk to other people in code, and this was my favorite one.
I have the most beautiful horse in England, but not the most beautiful lady. Your silence pains me deeply. I cannot forget you.
Somebody got ghosted.
And then when the lady didn't respond, he was like, "You slut."
But how did she know that he was going to send her encrypted, thirsty messages? Like, how would she be looking for that? How did she have the cipher? So many more questions.
Maybe people were smarter back then.
Or maybe there was a code, like someone from the 1800s wouldn't know that an eggplant image means what it means now. But like culturally, we all know what the eggplant message means.
But did we lose that somewhere? Because wouldn't history pass that
Maybe
down?
not if it was considered too lewd.
Do you think will future humans sometime in the future, will they forget the eggplant? Will it
Yeah,
be lost?
probably. I mean, the eggplant's maybe a little more obvious, but maybe there would be a moment where it's like, why do they send eggplant and peach emojis all the time?
I got to think that, some researcher eventually would be like, wait a minute, that looks like a penis.
Yeah.
Chris, did you know about Damien Hirst?
Yes, he also did a crystal skull and a giant shark embalmed in fluid.
Oh, was it related to the Indiana Jones crystal skull?
No, it was just a waste of money.
Are you a big fan of his?
Not particularly. Meh.
Is he bald but coloring the little bit he's got left blue?
It kind of looks like it
I
in this
just
photo.
noticed that.
I can't tell, though.
Come on, dude, just shave it.
Damien Hirst to burn thousands of his paintings to show art as currency. He's one of those people who, is into the shock art sort of thing, so...
So what he did was he released a bunch of this art, which is just dots. Do you
But each
consider
one
that
is unique.
Do you think that's artistic, Krista? Do you think dots?
He's literally just doing this to make fun of art institutions, so that's the lens you have to look at all his work through.
Okay, so he issued an NFT for every one of these.
Right.
He gave you the option: you can keep the NFT, or you can give that back to me, and I'll give you the actual art. Anybody that didn't get the actual art, he's now going to destroy the art. Does that increase or decrease the NFT value?
I think that's the experiment.
Yeah, his whole point, I think, is... I mean, he's probably wanting to make money here, too, but the whole point is that people won't pay an artist for a piece of artwork, but they will pay for an NFT.
That is kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That used to be true. It's going to be less true. It seemed like about half the people went for the physical artwork and the other half went for the NFT.
And that should tell you everything about people who are like, oh, you can use NFTs to support artists. It's not about supporting artists. It's about making money. Which is, of course, also a critique of the entire art world. So,
Isn't that a beautiful representation of 50% above average intelligence and 50% below? Well, cats. The internet loves cats. I love cats. Don't mess with cats.
Polish Institute classifies cats as alien invasive species. They are invasive in many
They
environments.
do murder everything.
They do, yeah. And I've got a group of kittens on my property right now that I have to get fixed so I don't end up with more. invasive species.
You're already too late and don't know it.
That's why I keep mine trapped in my home.
Yeah, what we do with cricket. I don't want 8 cats in my house.
Who doesn't want 8 cats?
Wait, is it up to 7? I thought it was
No,
5.
no, so there's Mama Cat, there's Papa Cat, deadbeat dad, and then there's 5 kittens.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
5.
plus cricket would be 8 in the house.
See, you say deadbeat, but he's there. He's helping raise
He does
them.
pop up from time to time. He must be working a lot.
Sweetheart, I just need to borrow $30.
If you watch the garden tour video, the Papa Cat is the one wandering around in that video.
Well, banks in China, they're in a little bit of trouble. Now, foreign banks are allowed to operate in China. However, if you recall the rules about Indonesia, for example, if you want to run a social media company in Indonesia, you have to set up an office, you have to give them a contact, you have to promise to do whatever they say within 24 hours. It seems like China looked at that and they were like,
India also tried to do that, but yeah, this one's about China.
let's do that for the banks.
China just put foreign banks on notice. Creating an internal Communist Party committee could be the cost of doing business, meaning that you have to do this.
HSBC is the first to step up. Now, has HSBC ever done anything controversial?
Remember, they got in trouble for laundering a bunch of drug money, and they specifically modified it so that people would have an easier time dropping off duffel bags full of cash.
I think they were somewhat involved in the real estate crisis as well.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Isn't it interesting that now that China's entering into a real estate crisis?
HSBC, yeah. Mhm. It's interesting that HSBC is so not investigated by anybody that would have the power to do anything.
Now, Krista, I was shocked to learn that you did not watch this. Did you ever go back and watch it?
I watched the trailer. I didn't watch all the other coverage.
Still haven't watched it?
The other
The
coverage?
panel? No?
No.
Wow.
Lord of the Rings series trailer debuts at Comic-Con. It is only very loosely related to Lord of the Rings. It is mostly just character names. So,
What's your take on the teaser?
it looked like a Marvel trailer, so I'm sure it'll be very action-packed and fun if you like that sort of thing. I'm not so certain it will be much anything related to the books, so.
I was expecting more in-depth review there.
No, it's not. I mean, over half the characters are original. Like, they released some more posters this week, and I did a count, and I think of the 24 characters they're doing in the first season, I think 17 were original.
Wow. I read this without JavaScript, but now, like, Kevin Smith is a ghost of his former self. He's tiny now. And Bill Shatner, 91. He
Still
is
alive. Still
amazing.
kicking.
Yeah, he's doing some amazing things at 91.
William Shatner sounds off in Star Wars, the latest Star Trek,
Oh, yeah, I wanted to know your opinion on some of this.
during shows during Lively Comic-Con appearance. They just asked us, like, what do you think about the new Trek? He's like, oh, Rodney's going to be rolling in his grave. All of it's terrible, except for...
Yeah, which one did he like?
he liked Mark Hamill. He's
Yeah.
like, Mark Hamill's great, other than that.
Yeah, pretty much crap all over.
Which is surprising to me, but
That's because he wasn't part of it.
that's kind of what he's known for, right?
Yeah. Oh, it is crap, but
But not just because William Shatner's not in it.
Did you see the New York Times? They did a puzzle, and one of the clues was like the best sci-fi franchise, but they sculpted the puzzle in such a way that Star Trek or Star Wars were both valid answers.
that's clever.
And boy bands are becoming more and more of a thing, mostly in Asia. Seems to be the hotness. We had our boy bands a long time ago. And
Korea, yeah.
I guess now they're just catching on. But the open seas, I guess, are getting involved.
Shark Bay dolphins are forming the equivalent of boy bands to attract a mate, scientists say. It turns out dolphins whistle, and they're trying to attract females in groups.
Now, what I didn't get an answer to here was once the female takes the bait, they said there was as many as 14 of them. How do they choose which one gets to do the mating?
Whichever one is dreamiest. And then, of course, also they negotiate that via contract with their manager.
Do you think any of them ever break out and go into a solo career?
Yeah.
Occasionally, but they never do as well as when they were in the band.
Beyonce.
Well, Beyonce wasn't a boy band, though.
It's true. She could be if she chose to, though.
She probably could. She's got that kind of star power. She just released a new album.
I love the twist ending to this story.
Did you see, I forgot to add it. Did you see Lori Lightfoot? So somebody crunched the numbers. It used to be that red light cameras, speed cameras gave you a 10 mile per hour grace, right? So if the speed limit's 50, you could get up to 60 and it wouldn't cite you. She dropped that down to 6 miles per hour. And they crunched the numbers. 80% or 84% of the tickets written after that were between 6 and 10. She increased it by 84%. She gets tickets for her security team constantly speeding. She won't pay them. And this is just more of that kind of nonsense. They desperately need to generate revenue.
San Francisco man gets a red zone parking ticket after curb was repainted while his car was parked. So they actually did some investigative journalism here. They went back to Google Street View and everything like that. This guy says, I've been parking here for 20 years and I never got a ticket. And that seems to be true based on historical evidence. It does look like it was painted at one point, but it was painted so long ago that the paint had faded out to just nothing.
And they hadn't been enforcing it.
Yeah.
So his tire was slightly on the curb also because, San Francisco. And they painted around his tire. So he parked, they repainted, he got a ticket. There you go.
The one thing about this story that got me, though, was, like from the headline, I was thinking, he's just running into the subway, get a tuna sub. No, he's there for multiple days.
Yeah.
Did he live on that street, I guess, and parked there?
Maybe.
The twist ending was we're going through chemo and this is a lot to deal with. So just more of this kind of thing. We're moving to France.
Screw this country. We're out.
Yeah. It was literally, I guess that makes sense with the cancer.
Yeah. France is such a better government about controlling all of your life.
Well,
Healthcare.
Yeah, if you have cancer.
The alternate headline here is that someone in power in the Philippines really got their heart broken.
Yeah.
Lawmaker wants ghosting declared an emotional offense. It's like, you didn't respond and I don't know why.
An emotional offense.
Sometimes it's just too exhausting dealing with people.
I bought you dinner.
There's not even commentary. Like, there's nothing even to say about how ridiculous that is.
Yeah, well, there's some great quotes, though, of him down there when he's talking about, the offense should not be heavy. We can impose a penalty of community service for offenders to realize that ghosting is not right.
Seems like there would be a lot of other problems to solve well before this one, but
Yeah,
hey,
for real.
Imagine how much that would empower the 4chan types. Oh, what about like on the Twitch stream, Chris? If somebody got creepy with you, you'd have to
and I'm obligated to give them a response. Yeah, that doesn't seem like that's rife for abuse.
You bind it to a hotkey. It's like, oh, that's a number 7 response.
Yeah.
I value your viewership. However,
And then banned. You're not ghosted. You know exactly where we stand.
I love covering the Middle Eastern stories as the Middle East kind of like pretends to be part of the fold. They just can't help themselves.
Yeah.
They keep doing stuff like this.
Tehran cemeteries cover graves that have pictures of women without hijabs. But this is relevant because this is how this is going online. So it's like, oh, you can visit our cultural center online, and then it's like, wait, they're getting rid of it on Google Maps. What?
It's such an astonishing way to look at the world. It's like, I cannot be expected to control myself.
Yeah.
I am a desperate, thirsty man. And if you show me just a millimeter of flesh.
Not even like just face with hair.
But not even that. A poorly engraved in stone representation of that.
A woman, yeah.
It's like, oh, I can't do it. I'm going to be naked on top of that grave if you show me that. I have no self-control. How dare you?
They advertise it, don't they?
And our second week in a row, we get another one of these.
The New York Police Department touts seizure of a toy gun deemed an air rifle on West Shore. It was not, in fact, an air rifle.
Was it a potato gun?
It was a spring-loaded water bead gun.
They call them gel water beads.
Have you seen them before? Do you know what they are? They're like, you use them if you're planting like a garden, or like if you have fresh cut flowers. They look like little beads, but they're made of water, and they hold that water in longer.
But they burst when they hit something at speed.
Yeah. They're not easy to break necessarily, but
so it's
at
a water
speed.
pistol.
Basically, Yeah.
The New York Police Department really, really wants you to believe that that's an air rifle, but it's not an air rifle. It's spring-loaded. It's a spring.
But, okay, now just bear with me here. Pistol grip, adjustable stock, drum magazine, that's an assault rifle.
Also, it may have something to do with the fact that a New York police officer killed a kid carrying something like this.
Yeah. The argument here is entirely, hey, if you have this, we're going to kill you, so you better not have it.
Yeah.
We're doing this for your safety.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could not... Although there are people who will take actual guns and powder coat them and make them these kinds of colors, which is kind of hilarious.
Truly the darkest timeline. Woo!
Until next week. That's the darkest timeline until next week.
Yeah, and then you get another batch of these horrific stories to enjoy. All right, we will see you guys then.
Thanks for hanging out.
Bye!